everyone, and in today's video we'll be looking at how we can punish the dubious knight to f6 move in the French Rubinstein. So let's go from the start. e4, e6, d4, d5, now knight c3, d takes, and knight takes. Just note this can also come from the Tarrasch variation with knight d2, d takes, and knight takes, just transposes. And now here I'm talking about the move which I think is a bit dubious, and it's knight to f6. So here, take on f6, and the move you'll see the most online by a huge margin, almost 90%, is queen takes f6, and yeah, a lot of errors there. And queen takes f6 isn't a great move because the queen is a bit misplaced there, and it allows white to start rapidly developing. Move knight to f3, bishop d3, and bishop g5 can show the vulnerabilities of the queen on this square, and it just allows white to develop quite quickly and get the initiative. But before we look at this, let's quickly look at g takes f6. So I looked at a lot of these lines, and they are quite complicated. With one of them, and one of them has black sacking the exchange for compensation. So to avoid that, let's go for a simple system. We go knight to f3, and I would say most of your opponents will go knight c6, and now you play the move c3. Now bishop e2 is recommended by the computer and everything, but when they've got these very small margins, it's just playing the most easiest human move you can possibly play. After they play e5 here, you play the move bishop c4, and they've got this diagonal opened and weakened. And yeah, it's quite a good position. If e takes d4, you can even castle with the threat of d takes c3, queen b3. Now this pawn is just overloaded. If here, you can even go queen takes b7, attacking the knight as well. Bishop d7, you can go back to b3, still attacking, and this is a winning position. But you'll probably usually find b6, trying to go bishop b7, fianchetto. And now play the simple move bishop f4, now bishop b7, now bring the other bishop to c4. So your bishops are both going to be in decent diagonals. This bishop will be threatening to do some stuff on f7 if this pawn ever moves. And the most common move here is bishop d6, and now move back to g3. So this is a great move, and if bishop takes, now you can go h takes. This file is opened. These pawns doubled means that these two pawns, so the reason g takes f6 is played is often to get this rook to g8, but when these two pawns are doubled, so let's say bishop takes and f takes, if they go rook g8, these two pawns are just completely deactivating the rook. You can now just take on h7 as well, but yeah. So the main move is queen d7, trying to castle along. Now play the move queen e2, so it's quite nice. You can play bishop a6 at some point, not right now, but at some point. Now long castle, and you can castle long as well. I probably wouldn't advise castling short here because there are ideas of h5, so if castled there can be h5 and h4 threats at some point in the future. The knight can move back, take on f3, this bishop can get stuck. So just castle long, and your plans will be to at some point go bishop a6, get the king to b1, king's going to be very safe, and your most important thing is your kingside structure is going to be very solid, and you can just start playing against these weak pawns, bringing your rook to the center or you could bring this rook to the center. It's overall quite a good position. And now let's look at queen takes f6. So this is the main move you'll see online. Now play knight to f3 again, simple development. And now the most common move is bishop d6. Let's quickly take a look at h6 though. Now you play bishop d3, bishop d6. Now you play the nice move queen e2, castle, and queen e4. Might not make so much sense right now, you are threatening checkmate now. But this actually transposes into the line which I'm going to show here at some point. So let's go back to bishop d6. So this is the main move. Now play bishop d3, and you could get this in bullet games, blitz games, even rapid games. Your opponent just castles and they run into bishop g5 and you win the queen. That's really nice. And you still have a threat on h7, and you can go queen h5, and that's just Well, that's just sad for your opponent. But a good opponent who's played probably like this dubious queen takes f6 still know about this trap, and they'll play h6. Now play the move queen e2, like I said. So with the idea of queen e2 is that when they castle, which is usually what happens, then you can play the move queen e4. Now if they play g6 here, you can take on h6. And when they play rook e8, you can go back to g5. And this is just a poor position for your opponent. You can go h4, but I just prefer long castle. And then you can go h4 next. You've got the safer king, you're up a pawn. You've got more piece activity. It says +3, but I would say more like +4 at this point. Now if they play queen g6, you'll win a pawn, and you'll have a great position. Look at this bishop. Absolute monster along the diagonals. And the main move, queen f5 here. And now you need to, this is an important move to remember. I've got the move queen h4, this is a very good move. So you open up the attack along the queen again. And now there's also another threat to take on h6 when this queen moves somewhere else. And then when g takes, then queen takes. And if they don't take on h6, you can go bishop takes g7 with more threat of queen h7 and queen h8. So now the most commonly played move is queen a5. If they do play the move queen f6, now you can play the move bishop g5. It's a really sensational move. And if they go h takes g5, they'll be queen h7. If they go queen takes, then you can just go knight takes. They still can't take on g5 because of queen h7, and that's just crushing for you. Now queen a5, you can play bishop d2. Here there's also bishop b4, but now you just play c3, back to d6, and bishop takes h6. Similar to the things we're doing in this line as well. Bishop takes h6, and I'm not sure what black could play here, but maybe if queen takes b2, there's the move queen g5. So queen g5 is a nice move because you're threatening checkmate in 1, even though they're attacking the rook. So queen takes a1, you can go king e2, and it's a really nice looking line. They go bishop f4 or whatever, queen takes g7. Can't really stop it because when they go here, queen f6, that's just literally a false checkmate. And g takes, and there's queen takes h6, and I'm not sure, rook d8 trying to escape. Now there's this nice tactic, king h8, bishop there, like this. So yeah, this is an important tactic to learn. When you've got a position like this, don't go in with the queen, go in with the bishop, and then bring the bishop back, bring the queen, and then bring the queen for the checkmate. This nice pattern. And I think that's it for today's video. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing. See you in the next video.